Alright, hi, I'm Daniel with SlipSki Boating Solutions. Today we're going to be going over an install of one of our boating garages. First thing I'm going to start with is going over some of the tools that you're going to need and some of our parts. Over here we have the bungees, which will come with the packaging, and this is going to be used to tie down the tarp on the ends. Over here we have our wires that go through our supports, and they hold everything tight. This is one of our roller wheels. They're gonna go right here. You'll have one spot on each frame where these are installed, and on the sliding frame you'll have 3 spots for these to go in. Back over here we have our one-way connectors that are going to fit right in here, and this is going to be installed using a rubber mallet. Doesn't take much, and you're just going to hammer that in until it's flush with the frame. A little bit of that shavings coming off is normal, and that's just going to make sure you got a tight fit. You have 2 types of connectors that are going to come with it. This one's notched out. The notched out ones are going to go right here at the end. You're going to want to make sure that you line it up with the direction that the wheel's going through the frame. And do the same thing over here with all the posts, making sure that you put the notched ones in where the wheels are going to go. Some of the other tools that you're going to need is impact. If you don't have an impact, you could use a ratchet. This is going to be used to put in the lag bolts that are going to hold the frame down. And the last thing that you're probably going to use is these ropes. It's recommended that you use the ropes. You can get it on without ropes, but this is going to be to put the tarp on. So you're going to have the tarp on this side, throw the ropes over, and pull it across the frame. Usually that's going to take 2 people. Most of this install can be done just with 2 people. So that's our where we'll get started. Next part of your install is going to be putting on the arches. Before you fasten the frame down to the dock, it's best to put the arches on. That way you know exactly how far it's going to space out. So you're just going to set it on here. This takes 2 people. Get somebody to get started on one end. Once they got it started, then you'll get the other side going. Hey, you want to do that until you got the frame flush with the connector. And just to advise, whenever you are putting the aluminum frames on, always use a rubber mallet. You'll damage the frame if you use anything else.
So each arch will be labeled with a left and a right side. Make sure you line up the left and the right.
Alright, so these are your roller wheels, and they're what each frame rides on. To install these, all you're going to do is put 1 nylon washer. I usually go ahead and clip in one of these R-clips, slide it in. You're going to put another nylon washer on, put your clip in. You're going to do that on both sides on this frame, and we'll go over this frame next. On these sliding frames, you're going to have the rollers on the bottom. Each roller is going to face the same way that the track is facing up here. If you look up here, you can see that the track is mounted on this side, and that's the way that the rollers are going to be installed. Same thing for installing these. You're going to put 2 nylon washers and 2 R-clips. This frame right here has 3 rollers. You can go ahead and put all 3 rollers in. The next step is going to be installing the arches on the frame. the sliding frame, we suggest that you do that off of the frame. So we're gonna put the arches on over here, and then we're gonna slide this frame on there. Wanted to go over the reason that we install the arches and the connectors off of that frame is because once you put this frame on there, you're gonna be setting on these roller wheels. And what could happen when you're hammering the connectors and the arches on is you possibly could damage these roller wheels down on the bottom. So that's the reason we suggest putting this on off of the other frame. Alright, so the next step of the install, we're gonna have a few tools. We got a tape measure. You're gonna need a drill with a 1/4 inch bit, 3/8 lag bolts, and an impact. It's best to use impact. You can probably get it done with a ratchet, but impact's a little bit easier. So the first thing you're gonna do is get it placed where you want on your dock. And then you're going to start taking measurements. The measurements are going to come in the instructions as far as what the distance should be from the inside of the frame to the inside of the frame. Once you get it placed where you want on the dock, you can double check yourself and measure from the end of the dock to the inside of the frame. This should be close on both sides, but it might not be perfect because your dock could be out of center. So the most important thing is to measure all the way across your frame. When you get it where you want, you're going to go from the inside to the inside and make sure it matches on the instructions as far as the width of your frame. You're going to want to double check at the end, center line, and at the other end of the frame to make sure that you got it a straight base for your other frame to rest on. If you don't get this right and you got it cocked one way or the other, you could come into some problems with the frame rolling smoothly. That's okay. If you do run into that, you can just remeasure if you have to, move your frame and re-drill the holes. So what we're gonna do, once we got it in place and we've checked our measurements, you're gonna start with drilling a pilot hole. Once you got the pilot hole drilled out, you're gonna come back with your lag bolts. This part's important. If you're using an impact, I like to get it just snugged up. If you go too far and you keep going through your dock, then you will strip it out. You'll have to move it, replace it. So once we get it just barely snugged up, then we'll come back with a wrench or a ratchet and we'll snug them up the rest of the way. The next part, we're going to be installing the sliding frame arches. These are going to be the bigger set of the two arches. This part can be done with 2 people. Third person would probably benefit you. So you're going to space it out. This is about where we're going to pick the frame up, so go ahead and get your frames in place. Then we're going to just pick it up. We'll let Conrad get started over there. Again, like we did last time, once he gets started, he can come back over. Alright, so we got the first arch on. It's standing up pretty well by itself. We'll finish by putting the rest of the 3 arches. Then we'll be ready to slide the frames on. Now that we got all of our arches on the sliding frame, the next part's going to be installing the wires and cross beams.
So next we're going to install the tubes that go between the arches. You have 5 sets of wires. You have a long end, and a short end. The short end is going to have a nut and a washer on it. You feed the long end through. We're going to put a tube, a 1-inch round tube, in between each arch. Run it through the other side, put a washer and a lock nut, and we'll show you how to tighten it. All right, we're going to pull it all the way through. feed it through the tube. Pull it. And then go on to the next section. Once you feed the wire through the other arch, the last arch, put a little anti-seize. A washer, 1/4 inch lock nut. You're going to want to hold the thread, get your nut threaded on, and then grab it behind the threads to tighten it the rest of the way.
Alright, so what we're doing right here is these are the extra threads. Every one's going to be a little bit different, but once you tighten these down, and you're just going to snug them up, you're not going to get them real tight. Come back with a grinder with a cutting disc. Come back around here and check this out. It's going to be to your liking, but we just like to make it, you don't want to get it too close to the nut. That's about it. Do here is we're going to put this tarp on the sliding cover that is not on the frame yet. You're going to take a rope and put it on each side. Get one person over there, put a rope on, and then you're going to take the rope, put it over the tarp, the frame. Once you got both people on one side, we're simply going to pull the tarp on.
Make sure you have the outside of the tarp, which is smoother. You have the seams folded over. That's going to be your inside.
Once you got it tied on there, you and your buddy are going to just pull the cover over the frame. Alright, so once we get it started on there, we don't have to put all the bungees on yet. You can. We're going to take a bungee, put it through the eyelet, wrap it around the frame, and then what I like to do is put one more twist in it. And I'll show you one more. So you're going to go through the frame, through the eyelet, around the frame, and then put one twist around the ball. Simple as that, and we're going to go around and put them all on. Alright, for most of them we're going to do just go one time around. For these corner ones, we're going to go around this frame, stick another one in there, and go around the bottom of the frame. like so. Another thing that you want to avoid is you don't want to start putting on all the bungees on one side. You want to go ahead and get your corners and then start evenly putting on the bungees. So we'll put some over here, put some on that side. Otherwise you'll have a hard time getting the tarp to lay flat on the frame. All right, so we got the cover on there. We got enough bungees on to keep it tight, and also so we don't have to go out on the water. If you have a boat or something, that could help you get those rest of the bungees on, so you don't have to worry about that. What we're gonna do now is we've kind of eyeball lined it up. You're gonna line up the bottom track wheels, which are right here. And then you're gonna line it up with that bottom track, and this top track right here, you're gonna line up with this wheel out here. So Conrad and I are gonna pick up on the frame and roll it in place. All right, now we're gonna slide this out and put the other cover on. All right, so just like we did the first one, we're gonna go ahead and put the bungees on the smaller frame. And just remember to do it evenly. Start at the corners and make sure you're working out the any kind of wrinkles that are in the cover head. All right, so the next part we got right here, we're close to finishing up. We're gonna put these 3/8, use these 3/8 bolts, washer, lock washer, and a nylock bolt. And that's gonna be to put this boat buckle on. These are for securing your cover in the retracted or extended position. All you're gonna do is stick this through here. You got one washer, bolt, come through here. One more washer, lock washer, and nylock nut. Get it started. You don't need to get it too snug. Still be able to move it, because whenever you tighten it up, you're going to be going out, or whenever you retract it, it'll be sliding in. So too tight, back it off just a little bit. That way we got some movement. And that's that for the boat buckles. To operate the boat buckle, if you got it all the way retracted, it's not going to move. Pull up on this release, pull it down, and now you can pull your buckle out. For the retracted position, you're going to come back to here, simply snap it on. Again, when we're tightening this, pull the release, give it a couple cranks. It's going to go up against the stop. You don't need to crank down on it too tight. You're just using this to hold it in place. So just give it a couple cranks. Once it's in place, push this all the way up. Now this is locked. Again, to release it all the way down, pull you a little bit of slack, and it retracts back into itself. Now you're ready to move the cover. All right, so here's all the way extended. You have your rails. That's where it's going to stop. And that's also what your boat buckles are going to pull up against. So again, pull this release all the way down, slide it out, clip it on your D-ring right here. When we go to tighten it, we don't need to get crazy. That's good. It's not going anywhere. And then you have another boat buckle on the other side, do the same thing. And your cover is dogged down, ready to protect your boat. All right, so here's our final product installed with a nice Mastercraft under it. That's another happy customer with SlipSki. Make sure to check us out on Instagram and Facebook at SlipSki Solutions. That's SLIPSKI Solutions. And also check us out at slipski.com. Thank you.